Hello, we're live. Welcome to this week's Runs with the Barcode live broadcast. Today we have got Dr. Ruby Arefin with us. Ruby is a park runner here at Puaringa in Rotorua. So thanks for coming on, Ruby.
No, thanks for having me. Hi to everyone at home.
So we're going to talk about a lot of things. Try to keep it short and sweet though, because we don't want to go on into the night. I know we probably both got work in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and being a doctor, I mean, your work is probably a lot more important than mine, but we'll forget about that.
I look like George Clooney most of the time
a
anyway.
younger George Clooney back in his ER days.
Yeah, probably more handsome too.
Oh, okay, if you say so. So Ruby, tell us your park run story. So where was your first park run and how did you get into it?
So my first park run was actually in New Plymouth, of all places. It was during my 5th year of medical school and I'd recently moved to New Plymouth and I didn't know anyone. So I thought, I've heard of this park run thing before, I thought I'd go. And it was quite funny going because, yes, I went to the park run, but I essentially made a group of friends very quickly through parkrun, and all of a sudden New Plymouth wasn't as much of a scary place very quickly.
So I know you probably kept in touch with quite a few of those park runners, haven't you?
Yes. So one of my good friends, I actually went to his wedding last year. So I met him at parkrun 2 years ago, and we're still in touch now. So it's funny how you build those ties off such small things like parkrun and just that community feel, and how you get to know so many different people and even go to their weddings.
Were you a runner before you went to parkrun? Like, how did you hear about parkrun in the first place?
It was actually my sister who introduced me, which is quite funny because my sister is the most unathletic person you ever meet in your entire life. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say, but she recommended, or she always talks about parkrun and always talks about the little badges she has. She's got the international one, having run in Australia and New Zealand. So she is actually the one who introduced me to parkrun initially, and I just thought I'd give it a go.
Cool. And so you were 5th year med student in New Plymouth. Then year 6, we were lucky to have you at Rotorua Hospital.
I don't know if lucky, maybe maybe unlucky, deprived comes to mind. But no, I'll take it. Thank you.
And so you came along to Puaringa parkrun.
Yes, I really enjoyed this parkrun here in Rotorua because it's quite different from the other parkruns I've done. It's volcanic ash, very it's almost something like out of Lord of the Rings even. I can just imagine Frodo running a 5-kilometer race there. And there's also quite good coffee afterwards, which
yes.
Which is the real reason. I mean, not the real reason I go, but definitely one of the major incentives for parkrun.
Now, I think the first time I really got to know you through parkrun was during our lockdown, and it was probably it would be level 2 because our cafe didn't open in level 3. So in level 2, we would go for our runs by ourselves, and then I would go down to the cafe and see whoever else was going to come and do that, post not parkrun experience. And you came along then, and I remember ribbing you about the cronuts, I think it was.
So I think so for those who don't know, the Rotorua cafe which we go to, it does very good cronuts. And I remember bragging to Alison that I could have 3 in one go, and she didn't believe me. But I proved to her that I wasn't a liar and was able to get 3 down. It's funny, I was thinking about it just now, but yes, we actually met at parkrun. That's how we became friends and got to know each other.
And then I would see you in the corridor at work.
Like, oh, you work here too? Oh, hi.
Yeah, it's funny how I do see more. I see people at parkrun, and then I see them in other places, and then it's kind of like, oh, this is where you fit in, like, to my life outside of parkrun.
It's probably a very weird analogy to use, but the movie Fight Club comes to mind, where who you are at Fight Club is different from where you are in work. So maybe in parkrun it's the same thing, where I've met people in parkrun. It's like, oh, you do this at work, or oh, you do this in the community, but that's not who you are at parkrun.
First rule of parkrun, though, is to always talk about parkrun.
Yeah, you have to always talk about parkrun.
Yeah, I was looking at your results just before I got you to tell me your barcode, but one thing that I also remember you for is always forgetting your barcode. So right. People, do not forget your barcode, because you want your runs to count towards your milestone t-shirts.
So I've probably actually run 32 or 33 park runs. I've registered for 18. So I'm not exactly the shiny exemplar of bringing your barcode. It'll take me a little bit longer to get to my 50, but I think I'll get to my honorary 50 sometime soon, though.
Yeah, because you're wearing the Wanganui photos that Andy Walmsley took of, was it their inaugural event?
It was their inaugural event, and so I was in all the photos and everything, but I actually forgot my barcode to that one as well. So, I mean, I've got proof that I was there, but I don't have the parkrun code to back it up.
So yes, don't forget your barcode, people. Otherwise, you may find that I will be doing birthday presents like I did for Ruby last year, where I got his barcode and I printed it and I laminated it, and now has 6.
Has 6. I still have 3 around somewhere. Being a boy, I still do lose things, but still have them around.
Yeah, but going back to coffee, because I know that you really do love the coffee experience at parkrun, and even if you haven't been to parkrun, you'll still come for the coffee.
I think I'm gathering a very poor reputation for that, of being the unofficial king of parkrun, or the coffee king, so to speak. I really enjoy the coffee experience at parkrun, because you talk to people from all walks of life. People from all ages are there, and you communicate with people who you would normally never actually communicate with them otherwise. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but I think my favorite couple is absolutely hilarious. I think 82-year-old couple. They just make the most outrageous jokes, and I wouldn't have met them otherwise. But no, so you definitely get a lot of value which you wouldn't have had otherwise, because of the coffee experience which parkrun offers.
I completely agree, because, as you say, I don't think I would have ever met such a mix of professions and, things that people really enjoy doing if it wasn't for the parkrun experience. Yeah. I wanted to ask also about being a doctor and the hours that doctors typically work, especially, now you're in your first year out of mid school. So, I mean, I guess you're working some heinous hours. How does parkrun and running help you with that?
I find what it does is it provides a highlight for the week in summary. It's something nice to anchor the week onto, and it's one of the best things for our physical and mental health. I mean, I don't want to make this a medical talk, of course, but the longest predictor of survival is actually social connection over everything else. It's not smoking, it's not obesity, it's not alcohol sensation, it's actually social connectedness. So, and I find parkrun quite energizing in that regard, that yes, I may have had a hard day at work, blah, 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 but just being around other people and just hanging out, it's just quite a special experience, I think. And it's something which is very unique to the parkrun cult, I find.
It's very true. And how many of your colleagues have you managed to bring along?
I've roped along the odd colleague. I think my max turnout was 5 one week. But I see a lot of my bosses there, which is quite which is quite different seeing a hotshot surgeon in his 30-year-old running shoes and worn out shorts. But no, that's something which I really like about it. Actually, is it's a level playing field, the parkrun course, in the sense that yes, everyone runs different times, but you can talk to anyone there, and that's what it's there for that community connection. Well, that's what I think, at least, one of the major parts of parkrun.
Yeah. Which pack runs are you going to try to get to this year?
This year. Is it controversial to say one of the Auckland ones?
No, not controversial at all.
I think I'd like to try some of the newer ones. The last new one I tried was the Whanganui parkrun, but I think the Hamilton University course would be one which I'd be interested in trying.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when I'm going and see if you can want a road trip over.
Yeah, of course. I definitely would. Come to...
Yeah. Oh, now Claire's saying come to Millwater.
Where's Millwater? I don't want to sound really...
It's like the most northern of all the parkruns in Auckland.
Okay, sure.
Orewa kind of area.
Okay, Orewa, yeah.
But it is a good parkrun. And Claire was on last week telling us all about the amazing donuts.
Yeah.
At Millie's Cafe. So I know you would have to go there to try those.
I think one of the other addictions I have for people who don't know me is I'm not sponsoring donuts by any means. Of course, they're not healthy to eat, blah blah blah. But I think I have a genuine addiction, which I'm coming to grips with. But I think parkrun makes me feel less bad about my donut obsession.
I mean, you only live once, so everything in balance. Parkrun, donuts, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to go to University of Waikato parkrun? That's a really cool one. That's it's 4 laps.
Yeah.
I'll have to get someone on from that course, but I love it. The way that one of the run directors, Lex, describes it is you do baby bear, then daddy bear again, and then mummy bear.
Oh, so it's like the Goldilocks parkrun.
Yeah. And then you go for coffee afterwards. But for Auckland, you're spoiled for choice. There's six different events in Auckland, but Claire wants you to go to Millwater, so it's a nice out and back course.
One which I don't think gets enough love is actually technically my home parkrun course. So I grew up in Palmerston North, and I loved how flat it is. And it's if you're looking to set a PB, it is the parkrun to do. The wind can be at your back. You can run very quickly. I think I've done some good times there when I've actually got my barcode and when I haven't brought my barcode as well. But if you're looking to set a PB, I want to put Palmerston North in the spotlight.
Well, it would have to have been one that you didn't have your barcode at, because your official fastest at Palmerston North is actually your slowest out of the 3 events you've been to. But it's still pretty fast at 24:44. I would like that time.
I'll take that. It's not bad for you.
No, your fastest overall is 22:34 at Puringa parkrun, and that was our first one back after the second pause. So October the 3rd.
Yes.
If you remember that. Oh, you're getting some good comments there. Kate Southern, the Palmerston North event director, says, yes, go Palmy.
I definitely agree. Go Palmy. Doesn't get enough love.
And Martin Harrop says Whangarei is good, but he would say that. And Rachel, Flaxmere and Anderson will get you PBs too. So lots of choices.
Lots of sport for choice.
Yeah, so you just got to plan it around your shifts.
And something in the future which I'd like to do is some parkrun tourism, I think. So definitely going not only New Zealand, of course, but also overseas as well. When in the distant, non-dystopian future, we can
Yeah.
go to places and go for runs.
Well, I was messaging Melissa Ellis from the Parkrun Adventurers podcast earlier on, talking about when we might be able to have travel between the two countries again, because I know she really wants to come over here, and I would quite like to go over there and run a few courses.
And I think I just want the overseas day.
I'm just going to have to do Axel's hair turban. I do not want him on camera because he's in the nude. So you can just keep talking, Aaron. Ruby.
Not sure what to talk about. I'm just trying to think.
There you go. So great TV.
Axel's very long hair now. I'll just give a shout out to Axel's hair.
Axel, who has a habit of coming onto these. At least he's not being a little toad this week and wanted me to do his hair.
That's very sweet, actually.
We've been doing these turbans now to dry his hair after his shower.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Looks very cool. Anyway, he's not parkrun related whatsoever because he refuses to run 5Ks. He would love to have a junior parkrun.
Right. He's very partlets, I understand.
I was going to see if there's any questions or there's no questions to ask you, Ruby. So that's all good. But trying to think what other questions I might have.
I think my dream at parkrun. This is always interesting where it's going to go. You know, someone has a minor accident, and I have to come swooping in to save the day. You know, as a charming young doctor as I am, and then everyone just fawns over me. But I think I'll just sit.
That's terrible, Ruby.
Terrible, but I want to save people.
No, it's terrible that you would wish an accident on someone. So, you know, we've got loads of doctors at parkrun, so you might not even be the first one on the scene. Oh, here's a question from Claire. Claire says, have you ever prescribed parkrun to patients? I've read of this happening in the UK.
Oh, that's a very interesting idea. The idea of an exercise prescription in general. It's I haven't actually specifically mentioned parkrun. It's not a bad idea. But it's something we tell everyone is do what you like. And I think parkrun is something which is very easy, even if you're not the most avid runner in the world or the avid walker. I think parkrun is something which is very open. I remember in New Plymouth there's this 92-year-old and 94-year-old couple, a 94-year-old man and a 92-year-old woman, who do the parkrun with their little stilts.
And Nordic poles.
With their walking poles, and I think it would take them about nearly 2 hours, but they would do it in the end. And I was very impressive. And they'd come for a beachside coffee afterwards as well.
So do you think you could accept a challenge of trying to recommend parkrun to one of your patients maybe in the coming week or so?
Okay. I'll just make sure that I don't buy any shares into parkrun, so there's no conflict.
Which unit, like what ward are you working on at the moment?
I'm working on orthopedics of all wards. So I might have to wait. So it's essentially, for people who don't know what the word orthopedics means, it means bone and muscles sort of stuff. So a lot of mountain biking injuries here in Rotorua, a lot of hip fractures, that side of things. So I think that's probably why I haven't recommended parkrun as the first port of call. But I'm sure once I get onto other disciplines of medicine, I will start recommending parkrun too.
Well, they could always start by walking 1 lap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The great thing of being a 2-lap course.
Yeah.
Yeah. any other medical questions or any other questions for Ruby in general? Otherwise, I think we might be able to wrap it up. No comments there. That's all good. Thanks so much for coming on, Ruby. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I'll make sure I go to Millwater sometime and maybe even flex me for a PB. I'll try that.
Yeah. There's a lot of park runs to get around.
Yeah,
but it's a great way of having weekends away from work.
And it's a great way to meet people too.
Yeah. Yes. Cool.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, we will. I will check in with you in a week's time to see how many people at work you've asked about, to come to parkrun. Claire wants to know, what's your coffee order?
So there's only one coffee order, long black with an extra side of hot water. I think you've got to drink real coffee. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again. And yeah, that's us for this week. And hopefully I'll be back next week with another one. Anyone watching this who hasn't seen any other Runs with the Barcode stuff, you can find me on Facebook at Runs with the Barcode. We have a Facebook group for park runners to talk all things parkrun called the Runs with the Barcode Clubhouse. And this is going on YouTube. So you can find me everywhere, runswiththebarcode.co.nz.
And you can always find me at the hospital working.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Good night.